Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as I record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds in 3 years. If you'd like to join the family, hit that subscribe button down below. Also, click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate on the live streams, you can join me most weekdays where I go live around 4 p.m. Central Time on YouTube. Or outside of the live stream, you can consider joining the Discord I created. There is a link for that down in the description below. Also, if you're interested in getting some ideas of the food that our family has been enjoying while we've been dieting, or that I've been enjoying while I've been dieting, you can check out the link down below to our Pinterest board. That has a lot of our family's favorite whole food plant-based meals. Today is day 801 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. I've used a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food plant-based salt, oil, sugar-free diet to lose 235 pounds. I have a little over 9 months, or I got over 9.5, almost 10 months left to go to reach my goal. I'm excited about reaching my goal weight of 219.8 pounds and living the rest of my life at a healthy weight. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you have any on-scale victories, I love hearing those as well. If you are struggling with your diet, what is causing your struggles? If you're succeeding, what are you doing to succeed? Let us all know what you're doing. And at the end of the day, what are some things that you are going to do that will make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Switch over here to the main. Hello, Rick and Christy and Cindy and Plants Only Muncher and Pretty Girl's Mom and Tennis and Yoga Girl. I hope all you guys had a wonderful afternoon here. Let's see. Cindy is asking Rick how he signed up for the member thing. I don't know if you can do it from mobile. I know you can do it from YouTube. But Rick here is saying if you go to the main YouTube page and click join. So maybe that's how you're able to do it. I'm not sure. So on desktop is what he is saying. Rick said he did on desktop. So last night was a good night, hung out with the family, and it was nice to kind of be back to normal after them being away for the weekend, and just everything getting back to normal is nice. Yeah, it was just a relaxing night, kind of hung out with Carrie and the kids. Let me pull up and see what we did for food here. Let me get this linked so we can. Oh, yes. Yesterday was Mega Monday. If you guys have been following along, you know that on Mondays, we sometimes do Mega Veggie Chili, or it seems like we end up doing Mega Veggie Chili a lot of times on Mondays. So that's what we had for dinner last night. Let me see here if I can pull this up. I'm trying to use my computer with my left hand because of my surgery and things, so things are a little difficult. So yes, this is Mega Veggie Chili last night. Unfortunately, because I decided to make my own dinner on Sunday, we didn't have any red peppers to put in it. But other than that, it's got a lot of the normal ingredients. Oh, the other thing that's not in there is zucchini. Carrie thought that I used all of the zucchini, but I had not. But other than that, it's just a bunch of different vegetables thrown into the Instapot. So that was Mega Veggie Chili Monday last night. And then this morning we had a very interesting oatmeal. So I had showed you guys the photo the other day of the stuff that I mixed into the potatoes. So let me see this here. I had cooked this up on Sunday night for dinner. I did not use all of it for the potatoes that I had, so there was a little bit of it left over. So what Carrie decided to do this morning, because I had used all of her vegetables while she was out of town, she took the leftovers that I had from that dinner, and she actually mixed it in with our oatmeal. So our oatmeal this morning had a bunch of stuff in it. It had spinach and zucchini and onion and mushroom and even a little bit of tomato in the oatmeal this morning. The thing that was surprising about this meal, or the oatmeal this morning, was how sweet it ended up being. The red peppers and the carrots gave it a lot of sweetness, which really surprised me, being that, we generally have a very savory breakfast, and I kind of thought most of that would come across as more savory, but it was much sweeter, and it was really an awesome breakfast. I enjoyed it. We've had carrots with our oatmeal a few times now, and I keep telling Carrie I like it, and every now and then she'll throw them in there just based off of what we have going on. Then for lunch today, I had my big bowl of potato and broccoli. If you look closely, you can see a little potato peeking out there on the right side of the photo. But yes, I had 5 or 6 potatoes and then a whole pound, or a full-size steamer bag of broccoli for lunch. And I wanted to try to get a photo to show you guys just how big this bowl is. And I have done this before, but this was like an overflowing bowl of food, and it was a huge amount of food, or it's a huge bowl to begin with. So this was just my big bowl of broccoli for lunch, broccoli and potatoes for lunch here. So that was food for the past 24 hours here. Tennis and Yoga Girl says that she has a non-scale victory here, is that you can put most of your clothes in the dryer before eating whole food plant-based. You hung a lot of your clothes to avoid it from shrinking. Life is getting easier this way. That's a great non-scale victory. So you're able to take that old clothing that would always shrink up on you, and you can actually put it in the dryer now, because it probably would help if some of it shrunk. So that's really nice. That's an awesome non-scale victory. Thanks for sharing that. And Cindy here says that she just made a ginormous pot of chili, and she's got another 9 days of storms. Yes, I worry about food preparedness and having enough food. We have lots of rice in case there's a big storm, or we used to have a lot of rice. I think we still have a big stockpile of it. Yeah, just having food available and making sure that it's good food that you have available, because if you're going to be stuck or not able to get out to the stores, you're going to eat whatever is available. And that's where, if it's in your house, it's in your mouth kind of thing. If you know that you're going to be trapped around food, and there's a chance you run out, you want to make sure that none of the food you have there is stuff that's going to be too much off diet, right? And make sure you have an abundance of food. That is a big part of it as well, is that to help stay compliant eating this way, if you're kind of always full, or you never reach that point of being, oh, I'm so hungry I'd eat anything, that it's much easier if you can avoid getting yourself to that point. And that actually, could segue a little bit over to the name of the video here today. Or Cindy here says, your power was out yesterday and you totally missed my live. That's unfortunate. But your brain went down the storm drain along with everything else. Well, it's okay. I'm glad you're here today. And the great thing about YouTube is you can watch it on you can watch the live replay anytime you get a chance to. So change your food, change your life, change your diet, change your life. And the big thing about this, and I think I've said it before, people have said it before. One of the things that I want to stress that people don't think about, because when they think of change your diet or change your food, they really a lot of times are talking about changing the quantity of food that you eat. And that, I think, is what we really need to avoid. We need to get out of this mindset that we just need to eat less. It's that myth of moderation. And um, the idea that we want to hold on to the idea that we can eat these foods that we really enjoy, but it's and so we think that if we eat less of it, we can still enjoy it and we'll still be happy. But the problem is you won't still be happy in the long run. Eventually that lack of volume catches up to you. And so you really need to look at the food you're eating, and you need to change the content of food you're eating, but you also need to continue to match the volume that you're used to eating, because that our bodies have this mechanism within it that measures the volume of food that we eat. Our body doesn't have a mechanism that measures the calories that we intake. And anybody can kind of probably do their own little self experiment. But if I look at my old diet, if calories meant satiation, if calories equaled satisfaction, then when I would have 7, 8, 9,000 calorie days, I should have been extremely satisfied. But I wasn't any more satisfied on the days I was eating 9,000 calories as I was the days I was eating 5,000 calories. It was just I was changing the content of the food that I was eating. On a day I had 9,000 calories, I might have had fast food 3 or 4 times that day. On a day where I was eating 5,000 calories, I might have only had it once that day. And so, but I still ate a lot of food that day. I might have just eaten more food at home that was lesser calorie than what I normally eat. But our body measures our satiation based on the volume we bring in. And that's a big reason why so many of us are fat, is because we have been satisfying what our body wants for volume. The problem is that the pool in which we're pulling the food out of, or the grocery store that we're pulling the food out of to satisfy our volume need, is far too high in calorie density. And that high calorie dense foods is what's causing us to be overweight. We've always been, you've been giving your body what it wants, volume wise, and you've been giving you what it wants taste wise because of the cravings that the food that we eat create. But if we change the food that we eat and we start switching from eating this high dopamine responsive foods that are chock full of sugar and salt and oil, and have all of the fiber ripped from it to make it as sweet as possible, or make it as craveable as possible, that food is what is eating that food, and eating the high calorie food and eating till you're satisfied with volume. The combination of that is what's creating excess weight on so many of us. It's the reason why I was fat, is because the food I chose to eat was far too high calorie density. Carrie's checking in, says, "Woo, I made it." Hello, Carrie. I hope you're having a wonderful time today at home. And so like I said, when you see things that say change your food, change your life, I look at how much my life has changed because I changed my food. I didn't change the volume, I changed the quality of food that I ate. And so many things have changed because of that. I don't have really any more leg or ankle pain. I don't have joint pain like I used to have. I used to get kind of chest and muscle aches, I felt like, in my upper body, that a lot of that's gone away. And then my sleep apnea, not having to wear that mask anymore is a huge relief. And, I was sitting down here writing down the things that have changed or the things that I don't have to deal with anymore because I lost weight. And it's funny the number of things that had the word pain written on them, ankle pain, joint pain, chest pain. Um, and it made me just kind of think about how much of my old life was painful. And how that burden of carrying that excess weight was a continual source of pain. And I just allowed myself to get used to it. I just allowed it to be part of my life. Um, Plants Only Muncher says, your favorite quote was from last week here. It says, Carrie and I are not a couple that can share a 1 pound bag of broccoli. Yes, we are no longer a 1 pound bag of broccoli couple. Yeah, that was great. Thank you. But with the food and just the lack of pain and the lack of hardship that I don't have to deal with anymore, and it's really hard to even wrap my head around the fact that I used to be 230 pounds, 35 pounds heavier, that I used to be somebody who was carrying another full grown adult on their back. And just the difficulty it was to do anything. And just thinking about it in my head, I'm thinking about this weekend. I was at home by myself on Sunday, and I've noticed this a lot, I guess, over the course of the 2 years, but it kind of was apparent, I think, on Sunday for whatever reason. I was going up and down the steps at my house a lot. And I would forget something, I'd run upstairs and grab it, or I'd be upstairs and I forgot something downstairs and I'd run downstairs and grab it. And in the past, it would have been such an inconvenience the number of times that I went up and down the steps. And I laughed because at one point during the day, my watch actually counts the number of flights of steps that I go up and down a day. And my watch actually beeped and said, hey, you met your stair count for the day. And it, like I said, it just kind of is interesting to me that it used to be so difficult for me to go up and down the steps. And I would do it, but anytime that I would go up the flight of steps, my heart rate would elevate. I would get winded, and when I compare it to how easy it is now, I realize how difficult it was for me back then. And one of the things that I used to do a lot in the past that I probably still do some of to this day, but I did it a lot more, is that I would have my kids go and fetch things for me all of the time. Now, if you ask them, they probably would say, oh, dad has me get things for him every day, all the time. But it was more so when I was heavier, like going up and down a flight of steps or going downstairs to grab something that I forgot. I would just have one of the kids go do it because they have young legs and they can get up and down the steps easier. But just the quality of life stuff that's changed, like being able to go up and down a flight of steps is a huge quality of life change. Not having to wear the CPAP machine is a huge quality of life change. And another big quality of life change is actually in going to the bathroom, something that I've talked about in the past. But at 520 pounds, it was getting more and more difficult for me to use the restroom. And if I was outside of the house and I had to use a restroom, I would pray that they had a handicap stall and that it was a big handicap stall, because a regular stall I couldn't fit in and go to the bathroom and take care of cleaning things up, and just not having to worry about that at all anymore. I could go to the bathroom on any toilet I wanted to, and I wouldn't have to worry about whether or not I have the space to get in there, the flexibility to get done what I need to get done. And the so Plants Only Muncher, I'm not sure the if you're trying to do the join thing, I'm not sure, because Rick had said if you go on a cell phone, I'm not sure if I could even look it up on my phone, if I'd be even able to. I know what I have done. There's channels that I've joined in the past that I've actually gone to a YouTube page on my phone. Like I opened up my Google Chrome app and opened up the YouTube app on my phone, and that gives you the desktop version of it versus the mobile version. Um, but yeah, you are subscribed to the channel because you're talking in here, and you have to be subscribed to the channel to talk so I don't get spam for porn sites. So, um, and Barb here says being able to use the clothes dryer also sounds like a quality of life benefit. Yes, that was what Tennis and Yoga Girl was talking about, her non-scale victory. That just being able to be okay with putting your clothes in the dryer, because if they're a little bit smaller, it's not going to be a problem. It's still going to fit. Another one that I think about every time I get in the shower is that for a long time when I first started this, I wanted my non-scale victory. I wanted to be able to come in and say that my non-scale victory was that I took a shower and I didn't knock stuff off the shelf when I was trying to move around in the shower, because that would happen every single time. I'd get in the shower and I'd turn my body and something on my body would knock the shampoo or the body wash or a bar of soap off of the shelf. And now it's like, I'm not even close to knocking things off of the shelf. It's like, and it was really nice to have that shift to that point where it's just a small quality of life thing, but it's all little things that by making these big changes in your diet, and even the little changes in your diet, because sometimes you may eat some healthy things, but these changes in your diet are going to have many changes on your life. It's not just going to be that you lose weight and you're lighter. Like losing weight and being lighter is a consequence of eating this way. But the pain relief, the quality of life improvements, the ability to do things that I wasn't able to do, to see a future that I didn't necessarily see before as well. Like that's something that me and Carrie, you know, from the very beginning of our relationship, or from the time we got married, a lot of it has been to grow old together. That's something that we a lot of times would say, I can't wait to grow old together, to see our kids grow up, to have grandkids. And we would say those things and we would want them. I absolutely have always wanted that. But in reality, it was just a make-believe fairy tale, because there's not a lot of 500-pound 70-year-old people running around. There's not a lot of 500-pound 60-year-old people. There's not a lot of 500-pound 50-year-old people. And so they're out there, but there's a lot of people that were 500 pounds in their 40s that didn't make it to their 50s. And I think that what us talking about it, and at least on my end, us talking about it, it allowed me to imagine it. And then I could live that scenario and I could live that life a little bit, because in reality, that life wasn't likely to happen. And there's all kinds of things that can happen between now and when I have grandkids. But the food I'm eating is not going to keep me from seeing my grandkids. The food I used to eat was going to keep me from seeing my grandkids. And it's not a future that that future that I thought I was going to have, that I pretended like I was going to have, was never a reality, because my actions didn't live up to that expectation, or like what I was doing wasn't going to give me the results that I was wanting. I needed to do something to change. And that was a thing with it. Cindy here asked, did you notice any changes in your mood as well? Well, yeah, I mean, it might even be like, I feel like I'm a very positive person, and I'm have a a, a, a positive outlook on things. I try to look at the, glass optimistic. I try to be optimistic. But I think that where, yeah, my mood's better. But I think it might even be just in that I have less frustrations with myself, so my mood can be better, if that makes sense. Like waking up and having ankle pain is going to be frustrating, and it's going to knock your mood down, just a little bit. Like having to, having getting out of breath every time I walk up a flight of steps. It isn't necessarily going to make before that or after that better or worse, but in the moment, my mood now going up a flight of steps is better than my mood used to be going up a flight of steps. So like my overall view on life, things like that, I don't know, but I feel like I have less reason to be negative now, if that makes sense, in a way. And yeah, I mean, I probably used to get frustrated with things too a lot quicker. I would snap at my kids maybe sooner, just because it was easier than actually being productive and doing things to correct the problems, and that's something that as a parent, me losing this 235 pounds is really been like I don't know that I can put I don't know if I can quantify the improvement that it has given with me and my kids in our lives, just me not being embarrassed to be their parent, to go to school functions and be worried that they're going to have to be the kid who has the fat dad, and it's weird, but like I remember when I was in elementary school, some of the kids that had the fat, one in particular, I know that kid, everybody associated that kid with his dad being probably lighter than I was, but he was big. And them getting any type of teasing or any type of negative pushback or feedback from their peers because of something I was doing, that is really frustrating. So to not have to have changed that, to change the, as they get older, they, I'm not embarrassed and they're not embarrassed of me. Not that they ever would have been embarrassed of me. They better not be embarrassed of me, but, I don't have to worry about my weight being what they're embarrassed about. And I'm still overweight. I'm not a skinny parent, but I'm much closer to what other parents are weighing or they look like. So, and then with the kids as well, just being able to do things with them and being able to do them for longer. Last year, a couple times we went on some longer hikes, and that's something that I wouldn't have been able to do previously. Or just playing with them, wrestling around. I can't do a whole lot of that right now because of my arm being messed up, but that type of stuff, I had a very short window of time that before, I could roll around with them for a few minutes and I'd always be on my knees and my hands, and it would be more them jumping on me and me being more like a playground equipment than me being an amusement ride. And so, that would be, some of those differences that have been. Dennis here says, first time watching live. Congrats on your 800-day milestone. Yes, thank you so much, Denise. I think I said Dennis. Denise, thank you for checking out the live stream. If you do have any questions, feel free to ask them down below. Just kind of talking about all of the things that have changed in my life and all the things that have improved. And there's far more things that have improved. But these are just kind of some of them. And it's because I changed the food I ate. I didn't change the amount of activity I'm doing. I didn't change the volume of food that I eat. I changed the content of the food. And that's something that I want people to understand, that when you eat this way or you change to this way of eating, that you're not eating less food. People are so used to eating diets of moderation and diets of these starvation diets that the idea of eating a diet of abundance is foreign. And I, at the beginning of this, didn't eat as much as I am now because I was under that mindset. But now I'm much happier with how things are going, and I am happy that I can make it to day 800, make it to day 801. If I was eating a 1200 calorie diet, I know that I would not have ever made it to day 800. Even trying my hardest, I don't know, without having some form of appetite suppressant, I don't know that I make it a month trying to eat a 1200 calorie diet. But with this way of eating, I get to eat this abundance, and I'm not fighting my natural instinct. Like, that's something that I think that really is missed with these diets, or what people don't understand, is that when you reduce the volume of food that you eat, you are then fighting your natural instinct for food. It's just like pushing yourself to get less sleep than your body wants. If you say, I want to be the most productive person in the world, I'm only going to sleep for 3 hours a night, and that's the way it's going to be. I'm going to train my body to only live off of 3 or 4 hours. This is what I'm going to do to be more productive, to be the most productive human ever. I'm just going to sleep for 4 hours a night. You can do that for a couple of nights, or you might be able to pull it off for a week or 2 weeks, but you try to do that 3 months in, 4 months in, your body, while you're awake, is going to be dragging, and it's going to be screaming, sleep, sleep. Every moment that your body gets a chance to sleep, it's just going to pass out. And the same thing happens with these diets, is you eat these diets that are like getting 3 or 4 hours of sleep, and you can manage it for a little bit of time, but eventually your body just starts screaming and it won't let you continue anymore. Plants Only Muncher says, so join means, so yeah, that is a member. Yeah, there's something that when I got the YouTube partner thing here, is that I was able to add a members only thing. And so that is what the members only thing is. And there'll be content that I'll put out in the future. It's just something that I just set up, so I haven't really done much. And you don't have to do anything. All the content I'm putting out right now is up on this for free. So, but I do appreciate the people that have joined. Cindy here says that when you teach your 3rd year goal, so when you reach your 3rd year goal, do you think you'll have your labs checked to see the change the whole food made internally? Yeah, I do need to probably go and get another checkup here and get labs done. I've done labs twice since I've started this, but I didn't do labs before. And that would be where I would get probably the best comparison, is that if I don't have any lab work from before I started the fast, because back then I wasn't a big fan of going to see the doctor, because the doctor was just going to tell me to lose weight, right? Barb here says you're under 110 pounds and you can't stick to a 1200 calorie diet. Yeah, like, it's such a low calorie diet. And if your body is burning that much energy, you're burning well over that in a day, which most people are burning well over 1200 calories in a day, you can't sustain it. It's something that in the short run, you're trying to get that beach body, you got a vacation coming up, you got something that, you know, you want to be a little bit thinner for in a week or two or a month, then some of that low calorie stuff, that might be what you need. But if you're looking to lose a substantial amount of weight and you want that weight to still be gone at the end, because a lot of those diets where people are eating these 1200 calorie diets, they eat this very restrictive diet. They have their vacation or they have their event, their wedding or graduation or class reunion that they're trying to lose that weight for. And then they put it right back on. They're not concerned about keeping the weight off. For me, this is about losing the weight and keeping it off. And in order to do that, you have to change the way that you eat. You have to change the foods that you choose to eat. And Carrie says, why do they think that, yeah, that's crazy. And why do they think that a 200-pound person could live on that? And it's not, nobody truly, I think, in their heart, truly believes that people can live on that. I think that they know that it's a gimmick. They know that it's a short-term solution to a long-term problem. And that if a big part of me starting this channel was that I've done a lot of these diets. I've done a lot of these programs. And at the end of the day, when the program was over, when the diet was done, so was the weight loss. So was the success. All of it got erased. And for me, it's been about finding out how the 220-pound version of myself has to eat to stay 220 pounds year round. And that has happened because I changed the food that I eat. And Barb here says that it messes with your metabolism. Yes, it does screw up your body because your body's trying to work off of one system and you're putting it in another. And I'm sure that some of the long-term effects of that are just stuff that people don't even consider when they're starting off, you know, like it's just something that it's all about weight loss. And that's my mindset started. I mean, I had a 0-calorie diet for 42 days. So I can't, you know, argue that it doesn't work. Like it works, but it's not sustainable. If I'd have done that 42-day fast and then went back to my old way of eating, I would be 540 pounds right now and not 520 or not 285 like I am now, or 83.8. So, the fasting, the 0-calorie, the low calorie, great for weight loss, not great for maintaining the loss of weight or sustaining your life day to day. And that's where eating a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet comes in. And it's the hero of this story for me, you know, like I look back at the 801 days and me seeing that video on True North and picking up the Pleasure Trap book absolutely is the catalyst for the success of my channel. If I go down the roads that I was thinking I was going down or was going to go down, I'm not sitting here 235 pounds later, 801 days later. It's just not the same conversation. And so, and the success has been because I have not been restricting the volume of food that I eat. I went to bed last night full. I'm going to go to bed tonight full. I'm going to go to bed tomorrow night full. And it's not, I'm not left wanting at the end of the day. I'm not left wanting. Susan here says that she's with me here. She's down 70 pounds. She's got 10 more pounds to go to reach your normal BMI. That's awesome. You're so close. You've tried every diet in the book for 25 years. Volume eating for the win. Yes, like it gets tough when you get to that 10 pounds to the goal. I'm sure. I can't wait till I'm 10 pounds to my goal. But you have to really start tweaking it too. You have to, you can't get lazier as the diet goes on. And I think that's what people do with these other diets is they think they can start off strong and then they can get lazy later. And that's not how it works. It's you start this diet. I started this diet, this way of eating as an ignoramus. I don't even know a better word. I was ignorant to this way of eating. I knew nothing about this way of eating and was essentially walking through it blindly. And now I'm 2 years later and I feel so much more confident. I feel like I know so much more about the way of eating, the diet, everything with it, and how to make it better. Like my diet is better today than it was on day 43 when I switched to this, or day 50. My diet is better now. I'm better at this diet because I've been practicing it. I've been perfecting it for this long, and I've made the changes that I've needed to make for myself. There's somebody out there that they could drink cherry juice every day and still lose weight. I can't. There's somebody out there that could eat avocado every day and lose weight. I can't. I can't eat those things or have those things and still be satisfied with the volume of food I'm eating. Because if I start eating avocado or I start adding those fruit juices back into my diet, then I have to start reducing the volume of what I'm eating. I have to take those calories away from somewhere else. And for me, it's much more important that I get the volume. I eat that extra potato. I eat that extra scoop of rice. I eat the extra carrots or extra vegetables on, the pound of broccoli instead of half pound of broccoli, like up until last week, I was eating 4 or 5 potatoes with a half pound of broccoli. Now I'm eating 4 or 5 pounds of potatoes with a full bag of broccoli. But because I'm doing that later in the day, I'm eating less. It's causing my body to eat less higher calorie foods later in the day. And I've learned that over time. Like you have to learn, you have to be continually willing to educate yourself and to accept new ideas and new information. Susan here says that she's at the tweaking it stage, and she has to hold the line. Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Yes, you have to, like I said it yesterday, that if I'm going to reach my goal by the end of this year, I need to be perfect. I need to be on diet. I need to be committed to it. And if you want to get to your goal, you have to be committed to it. You have to, unless you like, if I would have made my goal 300 pounds, then sure, I would already hit my goal. I could let up and I could eat some higher fat foods, but that's not where my goal's at. My goal is to be at a healthy weight. And if you're going to be at a healthy weight, you might have to tweak it at the end. You might have to cut out maybe something that was your favorite thing the whole time, and you might have to cut it out to get that last 10 pounds, but you'll learn to replace it. You'll learn what you can replace it that makes you better. Barb here says, Carrie, were you surprised when John wanted to do this diet? What a change for the cook in the home. Yes, she was very surprised. And we've talked about it a little bit. I imagine if she hasn't answered, she might not be here, but she was willing to do anything here. So Carrie actually answered. She said, not terribly, actually. We knew somebody that had done something similar, and there was a local Facebook group that she had been following. Okay, so maybe the change for the cooking at home didn't change much, but she was very surprised when I stuck with it. That's what she's saying. She didn't think I had that stick with itness. Yes. Yeah, it was changes though. There was a period of time where she was making food for me and food for food for us and food for the kids. And it was lots of different changes that we had to make with our diet. Me personally, I had to learn how to cook lots of different things. Carrie really has always been really great with cooking, and she's always loved trying new recipes and new things. So there was never really a year period where we weren't eating something new, and I think most people do that. You go through phases where you eat something for a few months and then you quit making it or you change it to something else. So, Susan here says that feeling full is the main difference for you and why this doesn't feel like a diet. Yes, and that it doesn't feel like a diet. It's not. It is a diet though, because it's the food you eat, and that's what a diet is the food you eat. Um, but yeah, and then you say you're still cooking 2 meals a day, but we make it work. So you're making a meal for yourself and a meal for somebody else. Is that what you're saying there? I think, yeah, it's something where, um, it's that dedication to doing that type of stuff. And once you work out and you figure out a system to do that, it's manageable. But, um, something that we did a lot of, yeah, Carrie says that she was doing a lot of cooking in the beginning because she was making the food for us. Plus, she was also making the kids kind of their standard American diet. Um, and so once we kind of started switching them to eating more of a plant-based diet, we do get them to share meals with us, and we do have get them to eat a little bit better. But um Carrie says here that the Facebook group that she had been following prior to this kind of dissolved right as we changed this. And then Susan says that, yes, you make sofas free food for your husband and you, and then regular food for the teens and the young adults. They eat way more healthy than they used to. Yes, our kids eat way more healthy than they used to. And our kids are much younger than yours, it sounds like. So they were a little bit easier to kind of get to eat our way. The Yeah, but and I think a lot of households with kids, people are making 2 meals already because the parents don't want to eat peanut butter and jelly, and our kids, there's lots of meals that we used to eat that our kids wouldn't eat, that we would end up making something different for them. Barb here says, how nice that you got the kids on the right track. Hopefully, I mean, they do pretty good job with it, and they seem to be healthy for their age, like that's something that I just want them to be healthy, and they're doing well, and they're not undersized or skinny or anorexic or any of those things. They're a couple of them, I would say, are even on the heavier side for their group, their age, and their whatever. So, so yeah, guys, you really gotta look at it. You have to look at the food you're eating, and you have to realize that that is the major issue. It's not your amount of activity. It's not the it's not so much genetics. It's the food you're eating. It's something that there's a comment I've seen there, or there, people talk about, you're destined to be fat because your genetics, your parents are fat, your aunts and uncles are fat, your grandparents are fat, you're destined to be fat. And there's a saying that I've heard that it's that the obesity doesn't run in families, but recipes run in families. It's along those lines, like that you're not obese because of a genetic issue. You're obese because that's the way your family has eaten for years at this point. The and so you can get away from it. You're not destined to be overweight. We're just in this incredible world that we have the ability to become overweight. And yeah, Carrie says, who knows how they will eat as adults, but this way of eating won't be foreign or extreme to them, which is huge for Carrie. Yes, they won't be afraid to try it or to consider it, and that's something that it didn't take a lot of convincing for me to eat this way once I kind of was given the right information. But it's extreme. It's so extreme to eat a plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet, like from the outside, from the other side of the tracks or from the other side of the fence. This diet looks so crazy, so restrictive, and I eat so much more food. The variety I get in my diet is so much better. So it has this false kind of perception to it. Um, let's see. Susan here says, good on you for getting your kids comfortable with this way of eating while they're young. Your youngest is 15. You got them off dairy. So there's that. LOL. Yes, that dairy. Oh my gosh. Oh, like the things that, I don't try to push too much on people, but when people complain to me about different health things, I really try to push the idea that dairy is a source of a lot of issues, and it's huge amount of calories. It's a huge amount of sodium and just unnecessary. It's unnecessary in the human diet. Like that's something that, doesn't really get talked about too, is that we think that it's required for some reason, but there's people that go their whole life without eating it. And there's lots of people that are lactose intolerant. So, but it's good that you got them off the, yeah. And Susan says that the Colin Campbell China study research on dairy scared the pants off you. Yeah. I never realized, I always took it for granted. There was one diet I can just think about that we were working out, and our trainer and the guy that was giving us advice, he was recommending that we eat cottage cheese before bed is something that we were doing. And I think back on that and I just think of how gross and how awful, like just throw that food in your stomach just so it can mold even more while you're sleeping. Like, but he had some scientific reason behind doing it. And, yeah, it's just crazy what that industry has been able to, the harm that it's done here. That's awesome. Christy here says that her 17-year-old has lost about 70 pounds eating 80% whole food plant-based. That's great, and it's change the food, change your life, like that's it. It's the content of what you're eating. You have to change the content, and you have to be okay with eating a larger number of bananas than you're used to eating. You have to be okay with eating a larger bag of broccoli than you're used to eating. Like what the idea of what a standard serving size was before, you need to realize that you can increase that serving size so much when you're not adding the processed foods to it. Cindy here says, you remember back in the day, the low calorie plate at restaurants was cottage cheese and a hamburger patty. Oh yeah, that's so gross, but Cindy or Christy here says he's doing much better than you. Yes. Well, I would say a little bit of the genetics and the age are going to play a part. He's much younger, I imagine, than you are. So that's going to have him helpful. He might be pretty active being that he's 17 years old as well. And then me and Carrie have been doing this way of eating, and we've been going along, and I've had more success with Carrie with it. And so I do think that, the weight loss between women and men isn't going to be equitable. Like I think that in the end, that the diet is just as good for both men and women, but I don't know that women lose weight as fast as men do. And it's something where that's just kind of the examples I've seen, like when I've ever gone to support meetings or things like that, generally the men see more improvement. It might also be a bigger drastic change in his diet than it was in your diet too. Because for me, that was like Carrie used to eat vegetables and things like that. For me, it's a huge change in my diet. It was much different than what I used to eat. And then Susan says here, what does Goldhamer say? Something like women are hormone producing fat storage machines genetically. And that's, yeah, I mean, I believe, that would be true. And that's tough to fight that, like, and, it might mean that it's easier for women to put on the fat and it's tougher for them to take it off. And, in the world that we live in, it's if I wonder, like, if that was out there, like if it was out there and it was an official like statement that it was tougher for women to lose weight, that if more women would do something about being overweight before they got there. I mean, I don't know. I'm just going on a really weird line of thought here based off of it, but like when you were 17 and graduating high school, if somebody looked at you and said, it's going to be 4 times more difficult for you to get fat off than it is your male counterpart. Or once you get fat, it's going to be extremely difficult to be, to reduce that fat. Would you have worked harder at 17 or 18 to avoid becoming overweight? But anyways, that's just a random thought. I don't know. And then let's see. Christy here says he's still not big on the veggies, your 17-year-old son, but he will eat spinach and baby red lettuce, and it's a start. Yes. And with our kids, I just try to tell them, just try it. Just give it a shot. Even if you don't like it, maybe that'll change. Maybe after that food gets into your stomach and your stomach goes, wow, that was really nutrient-packed food. Let's send a signal to our brain that says next time we see that, it tastes good. Then your brain, next time it tastes it, says, oh, this tastes better. Problem is getting my kids to try it the first time is easy. It's getting them to try it the second time a week later, or the third time a week after that. That's where it gets tough, but that's where you have to kind of push, is that you continually have to try it, even if it's a food that you say you don't like, because I could make a list of 20 different foods I used to say I don't like that now I love. And that has changed. It didn't happen on day one. It took time, and there's still foods that I probably would taste and say, I don't like this, but if I had it enough, eventually I would start to like it more. Carrie here says that she should probably eat a lot more greens and less beans than she does, but she is super healthy on the inside, which is the most important to me. And then Pretty Girl's mom says that is what Goldhamer says. We lose weight more slowly. Yes. And I would imagine if anybody has seen that firsthand, he would be as good as anybody to know how the fat burning mechanism on somebody works, working at the True North Clinic. But a comment Carrie also made here, and I'm getting long, but about I'm super healthy on the inside. That is another thing that I would say that changing my food has changed my life or my mentality with, is that I don't feel like there's any pollution in my body. I feel like I'm so clean on the inside, and I'm healthy on the inside. And what I realize is that, our cells in our body, they die off and they get replaced. And there's still cells on my body that existed when I ate my old diet from 2 years ago. But slowly, or more, but anyways, the old diet I used to eat, slowly my body has to replace those cells. And the only nutrients or the only food that it can replace it from is the whole food plant-based diet that I'm eating. So any new cells being put on my body, I don't think could be any healthier than what they are. And I think that's great too, and I feel healthy. I feel like my digestive system is clean and unpolluted. And so that is something that I definitely wanted to note, is that I just feel super healthy on the inside, like Carrie says here. Cindy here says you have a chronological age, but internally you can be decades younger from a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet. Yes. And you talk about having that chronological age or having the internal age. Before I started this diet, on a calendar, I was 38 years old, but internally, I was probably closer to a 60-year-old or a 70-year-old person because of how tough it was for my body to do anything because I was in the way of it. And so, uh, if I had an age, it used to be much higher than it is now. And I hope it's less than 40 now. I hope I get closer to like 30. I need my 30s back. I missed them. Spent them in an obese fog. And if I can get the 30s back by changing my internal age, that would be great. So, and thanks, Susan. I am gonna get out of here for today. I did an hour-long video here. I appreciate all you guys following along with me. Tomorrow is Wednesday, so I will be facing the music. Me and my 25-pound arm brace are going to get on the scale tomorrow, and we will see what the weigh-in is. It's been a few weeks since I've been on the scale, and I'm not sure what it's going to come out with, but I'm not thinking I'm going to have a loss, which I need to start changing. I need to really see some big numbers over the next 3 or 4 weeks. And that's just the way it's got to be with the weigh-ins if I want to reach my goal by the end of the year. So I am going to get out of here. Thank you guys for all of the support. Barb, see you tomorrow. Everybody, I will see you tomorrow. Thanks, Susan and Christy and everybody that was on chat today. I'll do a video. I'm going to do a separate video tomorrow for the weigh-in, and then I will be live at around 4 p.m. to go over the weigh-in. So thanks, guys, for the support. If you have not already clicked on the subscribe button, make sure you click on the subscribe button. If you've not clicked on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos, make sure you do that. And if you've not commented down below and liked this video, I would really appreciate it. Let me know how changing your food or changing your diet has changed your life. And if you have not started your diet yet, get started right now. There's nothing coming up this weekend that's more important than your health and your overall well-being. There's nobody that gets to their goal and looks back and wishes they would have waited. Everybody wishes they would have started sooner. I haven't even reached my goal, and I so much wish I would have started this 6 months or a year sooner, so I'd be already done. If I'd have started 10 months earlier, I'd already be at my goal. I'd already be living out the rest of my life at a healthy weight. But instead, I waited that 10 months, and now I have to live through it now, and I could be done with it already. You guys all have a wonderful evening, and we will see you tomorrow.